love that's to me one of the coolest storylines of the whole draft was Fisk and Verse getting reunited, and that phone call and the Rams like picking Verse up from the airport. And
Mhm.
I would love to know how fast the driver was going to get him there to the facility and get him on the phone with
Right.
Verse. But no, really cool story. Again, we had 14 straight offensive players go. That the fact that Leatu Latu was the first defensive player to go at 15 overall. Usually the first defensive player goes somewhere in the top five. So in a normal draft without all the quarterbacks and three really good receivers and some really good O tackles, like Verse could have been a top 10 pick. But no, so that's a really cool. Those two guys are reunited. They're going to feed off each other. Braden Fiske, to me, I mean, probably our biggest success story coming out of the Senior Bowl this year in terms of where he was projected to go when we put the roster together in November. Because we've
Yeah.
talked about it on your show before. We include the NFL in our process. We have these long 3-hour phone calls, and we go position by position. And because of relationships in the league, I mean, teams are generally really open about where they have guys graded. Braden Fisk was going to be like a fourth or fifth round pick going into the draft process, and he crushes it in
Wow.
Mobile all week.
Wow.
He was in. I probably, in hindsight, could have named him MVP of the game after I watched the tape. Unfortunately, I don't have the benefit of picking the MVP with watching the tape, but no, and here he goes. What did he go, like 38, 39, 40, somewhere like that?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, that's for a Power Five player. I guess now a Power Four player. That's a massive jump. Like for one of those, for a Power Four, Power Five player, whatever we want to call it these days. If they do everything right through the draft process, they might go up a round, which is a lot of money when you're up
Sure.
there. He jumped like 3 or 4 rounds, which is like that happens sometimes with FCS level players or a D2 kid or a D3 kid. That does not happen for a guy from Florida State. So
Yeah.
I know I've kind of went on and on with this answer, Kelly, but that to me that's one of the coolest stories of the draft.
No, it is, man. We love that. And I think, having him on the podcast, having chatted with him throughout the year, and really just his mindset, man, he's built for this stuff, right? I mean, that's zero dark 30, put the tinted sunglasses on, let's go to work for this rookie season. He's got all of that. And I think he and Verse together again, it's going to be magic in LA. I can't wait to see those two and the things that they're going to be able to do.
Can,
You
can I
talk
can I can
about,
I cut? Can I share one story
come
with
on,
you from Senior
come
Bowl
on.
week?
Yes,
Okay,
please.
so we had some roster attrition. Before the game, we were losing some players. The D line coach for the national team calls me at 6 a.m. kind of in a panic, and I'm like, "Bro, what's going on?" He was like, "I need a D tackle. I cannot get through the game with three interior guys." I'm like, give me a minute. I threw my stuff out. I went to the office. I'm looking at the depth chart. Like the name that popped out on the other team, they had 60 tackles. Was Braden Fiske. I'm like, you know what? It's now 7 in the morning. We're playing it. We're kicking off in 5 hours. Like if I'm gonna switch a guy, which guy's not gonna give me crap about it? So I call Braden and I'm like, or I text him. I'm like, hey Braden, meet me by the second floor escalators in 25 minutes. So he comes walking out of the breakfast area, and I got the two D line coaches standing there with me, and he's kind of giving me that look like, what the hell's going on here? And I'm like, Brayden, you ready to make some history today, bud? And he was like, what are you talking about? I'm like, we're gonna switch you teams. And
Oh my
he
gosh.
he he all he did was he looks at the D line coach. He's like, are the calls gonna be the same? And these two guys work together with the Dolphins. They're like, yeah, the calls will be the same. He was like, all right, I'm good. Let's play. He's like, I don't give a crap. I'll just play. So, I mean, that's him,
Wow.
man. Like that is him. Like
Yeah.
you talked about zero dark 30. Like this dude is just, he's a warrior.